All right, guys. So we're live. We're live. Just a minute. Let me drop this link. Need to share my screen. GMGM guys,
GMGM
please feel
guys.
free to share. Feel free to share the link if you're just joining. All right, guys. So GMGM. Yeah. So let's get started. Please, if you're just joining, feel free to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and also share the link depending on where you're watching from. Yeah. So, Spesta, what do you think so far? What's been happening in the markets from your end? How have you been enjoying this whole volatility within the last about 48 hours?
Well, volatility is how money is made. It's how people make money. And thus, the volatility is good. This is the good kind that we've been talking about, that we've been expecting. So we saw Bitcoin above 97K. And yesterday we talked about it. Should it go above 94, 95K? So it has actually cleared that particular region. So, and with that, we saw a couple of altcoins also move to the upside. Dash was doing well. We saw Metis. We saw so a whole lot of them actually did well. Now, as all things, there would always be movements. Once we get movements to the upside, it's not a one straight shot, right? There would always be maybe movements to the downside, like counter movements, okay? But this is how monies are being made, through futures trading and all that good stuff. So volatility has been okay, right? Like I said, for me, I'm still looking out for prices of tokens pre-December or November. Okay, those will give me like a clear indication that okay, this is a strong trend. This is really good because even online when I check and I see the conversation about alt season is here, it doesn't make much sense to me because the alt season or the alts that we are seeing, the movements are too small. We are seeing like maybe 10%, 18% movement, or even a 40%. This is not the alt season that we know. Alt season that we know is way much more volatile, right? In that sense. So basically this is what I'm looking at. Also, yeah, we talked about the crypto bill, right? And information's coming out from that. It's not as favorable as we think, and I think that also would have affected the market in some way. Okay, because one of the news that came out is that the Coinbase CEO does not support that particular bill based
Yeah.
on some of the things that they are trying to do. And to be honest, if you look at what they are trying to do, you would understand that this was not the promise, made by Donald Trump. And yeah, it's quite interesting to see how things are unfolding in real time.
Yeah, I totally agree. We spoke about that briefly the day before yesterday about the crypto bill. I think it was Tuesday. We spoke about that, about what Coinbase was saying. The founder of Coinbase, what he was saying, but I didn't just pay so much attention to that. But I knew that was not a bullish news, however. But let's briefly look at the markets. You can see my screen, right? The bubble map.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so let's quickly look at the correction before we look at some of the stops. So if we notice, there's been a huge correction from yesterday till today. If you didn't take profits for most projects yesterday, today it's some of them are back to entry, while some are a bit above entry, while some are beginning to move today. Well, from last week till date, yesterday profit, you can see Dash is over 100% up. If you've been following this channel, if you've been tuning into this live stream, you shouldn't be surprised about this. In fact, if you didn't capitalize on Dash, you did not make profits, then that's sad. It means you've not been taking action based on what we've been doing in this channel. So for those that are always frequent, that tune in every morning or go to rewatch, if you don't tune in, you go to like rewatch the live stream. You find out that we don't just throw multiple tokens. Yeah, we don't try to overload you with multiple projects, multiple tokens. We have like a very streamlined focus. And the only trend we spoke about this week, I think Monday, was privacy coins, which is something we've been bullish on since late last year. Privacy coins, and we cited that with the run of Monero. We said it on Monday too. So if you've been a follower and a listener, you would know the actions to take, which we even still did like an analysis on Dash. We did this Tuesday, and we also did that say yesterday. I think we did that yesterday too. I feel so. Well, I know we did that on Tuesday. Let me open up the chat briefly before we switch to some of the stuff. So before we continue talking about other things. Yeah, we did this analysis on Dash. I'm just sharing my screen. This is Dash. We did this analysis on Dash. We also did the same thing too yesterday, where I told you guys that Dash would obviously continue until it gets to the major resistance. It's the same thing I did last year because we traded it last year, September, October. It's like the same thing. I said it that it's going to continue. I said it yesterday that it will continue running until it gets to this level. Like there's a no-brainer. It will continue. This was just a correction that happened day before yesterday. This was a Tuesday correction. Wednesday picked back again and started moving. And I said it again yesterday that it will continue until it gets to this level. There's nothing stopping us. It's just a free fall. I also said it yesterday that why you saw this correction was because of this sell off here. That's why you saw this correction on Tuesday. So now we're past it and it's going to continue till it gets here. So if you saw that get to 86, 87, you're not supposed to be surprised. If you guys recall, as at Tuesday, it was still around 52. In fact, we're on this live stream on Tuesday while it was at 52, 53. And while we're still on the live stream, I think it got to 61 or thereabout. And the projection was actually dropped. So it's usually nice to see while we progress, most of these things play out. So for those that tune in, you can see that this stuff ends magic. Yes, you can see that this stuff ends magic. And also you can learn through the process. You can see where you have some shortcomings, where you need to improve, where you have some mistakes. I also share like one of the mistakes where I made yesterday. Yes, you can also see some of those stuffs. Yeah, so it's not rocket science. All these things are doable. So yeah, Monero is up over 50%. Dash is up over 100%, majorly based on its low cap. Still, I think it's still below a billion, or maybe now it should be close to a billion. We looked at it on Tuesday when I told you guys why it's going to run even hard. It was around 600 M that day. I think now it should be close to a billion, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so on the daily, we have some corrections. For those that joined yesterday, you would notice something. Let me switch to BTC chart briefly. There's something I said yesterday if you joined. So this BTC chart. I said this yesterday while BTC was almost at 90, I think 97K or thereabout, 96, 97. I think about 97K. I said this yesterday that the highest that would happen come Thursday is we'll see a correction. Yes, I said it that the highest that would happen is we'd see a correction. BTC would correct. So you should be expecting that. That's like the highest that will happen, which it's inevitable. We must see that correction, which we've already started seeing it. I think it dropped even 95. Yeah. We've seen the correction. And I did say that at least before that correction happens, odds would have an opportunity to rally that yesterday before the correction happens. Because as we get closer to Friday, in most cases we start seeing like gradual correction. So we've seen one this Thursday. So it's happened on Thursday. Probably tomorrow, based on our usual expectation, we'll most likely still see further correction, maybe down to this level. Hopefully we don't. If I want to be hopeful, I'll say hopefully we don't. But if I want to be logical based on what we usually see and expect, what we trade, we expect to see a correction, most likely to this level. Again, since it's Friday, then most likely next week would continue towards the upside. You get, yeah. But our expectation for this week has been met. It's a green week, basically. We've seen the break of a major resistance, and we saw a new high, 97K, almost 98. Now we're seeing a correction, very healthy. And afterwards, you expect another move towards the upside. The correction, I don't know if it's over. I can't tell if it's over or not, but it will be interesting to see it drop to this level. There will be lots of opportunities that will be presented in the market. Lots of opportunities. So let's briefly switch to our trades. We had about 7 or 8 trades open, long trades, I think. That's seven or thereabout. We had Uniswap open. Uniswap has just been playing, like it has really, really been playing. It's just been playing. So we got in on this position for Uni. This was our previous position that we exited. Previous position we exited. We got in again. This position, I'm still on this trade. I didn't even set to break even. I'm actually still on the trade. Um, Dash has hit the expectation. It has hit the major resistance. So now we're just in a correction. Maybe we'll correct to somewhere here before we continue that upward move. By the way, we're not on any Dash futures trade unless spot positions. Apex, this is where I made a mistake. Apex hits my SL. Yeah, Apex hits my SL. I actually took a continuation trade but short lower time frame on Apex yesterday afternoon. This was a successful trade. But this particular one, it hit my SL. I was in profits, funny enough, reasonable profits because it was up almost 1 to 1. But I just felt like it's about time for Apex to break out. So if you see, it was up 1 to 1. Now, ideally, based on what I always do, once it's up 1 to 1, what I do is either I set trading stop loss or I adjust my SL to this level. Now, for this Apex trade, I did not even move my SL to break even. Like I did not. I didn't move it to break even. And I slept off and I woke up this morning to see that it has hit stop loss. I didn't move SL to break even. I didn't protect profits. So I lost money on this trade. And that's not because it was a bad trade. No. It's just because of probably I was being too greedy or I was being carefree or because of there were so many other successful trades that yesterday. Probably that's why I didn't do that. But this trade actually hit SL and it was painful. Painful because I added more. I loaded more trades. You get, which I think I said that yesterday. That I was going to add more trades on Apex. So I added more trades. So it was a large size. And I do know it was at very good profit at this level. I know for a fact it was at like really, really good profit at that level. The internal trade was a 1 to 2. I closed that one. Happened within a short period, about 3 hours or 2 hours. Yeah, it happened in a short period. Maybe that's why I kept holding on to this one. So it was more of like the profit I made from this internal one, I lost it when this one hit stop loss. I gave back that profit to the market when this one hit SL. When I could have actually just secured this trade or worst case break even. So these are like some things you're supposed to like avoid in the market. You're really, really supposed to avoid. Most times this thing can happen because you've had an amazing run that week or because you've been making profit. So you might just discard some of your rules you get that you actually apply. And most times when you don't apply those rules, you end up losing money. If you don't, it's because of luck. It's not sustainable. Yeah, so that's what happened with that Apex trade. They've hit SL. Which other? So for those that actually follow the asset rules, if you moved SL to break even, worst case you're supposed to break even in this trade. But if you actually move to 1:1, which is what we always see, once is at 1:1, protect profits. If you did that, then you made profits. But if you're like me, you lost money. Which other trade were we on? We're on Litecoin trade. So Litecoin trade, that was actually a good one. I just got into this Litecoin position again. So the LTC trade, it actually moved. This was a trade. Looked at it, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? Bounced off the trend line. That's where we took the trade. So this trade actually got to a 1:1 before reverting. So you can see it got to 1:1. So this one I was able to exit at 1:1, and I decided to get in again this morning. So if you want to, this is the entry 74, this is the SL 71, and this is the TP 82. So if you want to, you can actually you can get in on it. Gigo trade, we had already exited this Gigo trade based on trailing. It's back to entry. I've not gotten back in again, by the way. I'll still check it, but I've not gotten back in. So the Gigo trade also did like a good run, about 1 to 5 or 1 to 1.5 rather. It was actually a good run. So I actually stated it yesterday that you can get back in on Tuesday, rather, that you can actually get back in on the Gigo trade. So if you did, congratulations. And if you're able to secure profits, because it's one thing to get back in, it's another thing to protect profits. But if you didn't, well, sadly, you're back to break even. Which other trade? We're also on, let me see, we're also on Zcash. Zcash hit full TP. And this is Zcash trade. It actually hit full TP. We got in, I think it was yesterday or Tuesday. I think Tuesday, we got in on Tuesday. So if you guys notice, I was very bullish on this trade. I told you guys that it's a no-brainer. The worst that will happen, the least expected for Zcash to do is to hit this point. The only thing I'll make it not is if BTC dumps, which as of that Tuesday, Bitcoin had not pumped yet. So still around 92K when we got into this trade. And you could see Dash moving, Monero moving. It was a no-brainer that Zcash was going to move and hit full TP. So this was actually a successful trade. I think this was our second trade or third trade to hit full TP. So we had Asta first hit full TP yesterday, and then we had Zcash. Then we also had Meti. So Zcash trade, this one has completed its life cycle. Which other one? Okay, I got into the Stone trade last night. So if you want to jump in, it has already moved. This was last night. This is Stone. If you guys recall, we're waiting for a correction for Dawn. We missed this entry. I said it yesterday, it didn't trigger. So this was like a Dawn trade. It's still valid, by the way. This trade is still very valid for Dawn. Which other trade again? Which other trade? Metis trade has hit full TP. Metis trade was also a great trade. Yes, that's actually hit full TP. This is the second entry, a re-entry that I'm anticipating for Metis, but I've not taken it yet. I'm waiting to see how Bitcoin performs. Now, why? Is because Metis can be very volatile. Like it can be very, very volatile. So it should BTC bounce, but if BTC continues maybe to edge towards 94K or thereabout, this support will fail. So I'm skeptical on this. I've not taken it yet. I'm just trying to like watch and observe. But our Metis trade from yesterday, it actually hit full TP. Our full TP was somewhere around here, which we asked to extend it. I extended mine to about 7. I extended it to 7. Then I used trading stop loss to trail the price. And I think I exited around 6.2. Around 6.2, that's where it took me out. Somewhere around here. Yeah, 6.2. Somewhere around here. That's where the trade took me out for Metis. And also Metis on two different platforms. So for those two platforms, I'm actually out both Bybit and Binance for Metis. Both positions are actually closed. So this was actually a very good trade. And you guys recall we're very bullish on this. We kept saying you can move on to Metis, you can jump in on Metis trade. And we kept emphasizing on once Metis is once Metis breaks this resistance, it's going to be like an easy run. We kept saying that, and immediately we went past this. in a very short time frame, about 3 hours, kept flying. If not for BTC correction, like if not for BTC correction, Metis would have most likely gone to as high as 7.5. But yeah, BTC correction had to do its thing and had to bring the price down, which is normal for better entry opportunities. Okay, Asta already hit our full TP. I already looked at that. Hype is back to almost entry. Yeah, hype is back to almost entry. So if you set trailing stop loss, you're supposed to be out of this trade already in profit because it got to about 1 to 1.5 or thereabout. It got to 1 to 1. Yeah, got to above 1 to 1. So you're supposed to be out of this hype trade in profit and most likely waiting for a retest of the entry. Which other trade again? I think I've covered the major trades. I don't know if I missed any. You can let me know if I missed any of the trades that we are still on. You can literally let me know. So today is Thursday. This LTC trade is actually moving. So personally, I'm expecting a breakout from LTC. Let's talk about some trades that have not moved and some that may be new ones. LTC is a new trade, by the way, so you can jump on this. This is a new trade. I'm expecting a breakout, kind of breakout we had with Metis and the kind of breakout we had with Dash. I'm expecting a similar from LTC, but it only happen after we go above like $84 for LTC. That's when it will happen. So hopefully BTC does not misbehave and it ranges for LTC to gather momentum, because what Litecoin needs is for Bitcoin to range so it can gather momentum and go above a major resistance level that's been holding it for a while. Same thing too is what AVAX needs. AVAX needs a similar thing too, because AVAX needs to go above this level. So once it goes above this level, it will easily get to $20. So AVAX needs the same thing. Gigo too needs the same thing. Gigo needs the same thing, but Gigo is still far from the level it needs to go above. Uniswap, I'm very bullish on Uniswap too. Very, very bullish on Uniswap. So Uniswap also needs like the same thing. Needs BTC to range for a while, so it can gather momentum and it can move above $7. I'm very bullish on Uniswap going above $7. By the way, it just hasn't happened yet, but it definitely will. And most times, those run are going to be, the candle is going to look very similar to that of Dash or very similar to that of Metis, because for most of them, you have traders that are just waiting for them to like jump in once they see it at certain prices. I don't think this AR trade was shared. This AR trade wasn't shared. I don't think so. It wasn't shared. But yeah, it'd be nice to see AR do some corrections. It'd be nice. So most times, if you're someone that you take profit, also answer the questions, please. If you're someone that you manage your trades well and you take profits, you would find out that when you see corrections happening in the market, you won't be phased. You'll be very relaxed because those corrections give you the opportunity to rinse and repeat. It's as simple as that. Those corrections just give you the opportunity to rinse and repeat. The same thing you did, you do that same thing again. Okay, so it just gives you that opportunity. And most times you can do it about 2-3 times before the chart breaks out of a particular level and starts creating a higher high. Most times you can do it 2-3 times. So that's the good thing with managing your trades very well and taking profits or breaking even. Anyone, you can break even from a particular position and it goes much lower and you get back in at even a lower price. You can do that. That's a similar thing we did with Asta. We did that with Asta. That was why Asta was one of the first trades to hit our full TP on Tuesday. So, Space, I don't know if you have one or two things to add before we look at Coin Market Cap or CoinGecko, then we take some questions.
I think let's go on
I
to
see
look
some
at
questions
coin.
already.
Let's go ahead to look at coin market and CoinGecko. Because you've done basically most of the analysis. There is nothing much that has changed between our chains of interest. So let's go to coin market.
Okay, so if we notice, we can see some privacy coins still here. You can see Decreed. Decreed is up almost 40% from the price yesterday. We can see Zen. Zen is also up almost 25% from the price yesterday, while Dash is literally correcting. So those are all privacy coins. Is there any other privacy coin here that I'm conversant with? Not none really that I can recognize, but you'll notice that maybe private chain is a privacy coin. I don't know, but you'll notice that we have some good privacy coins on the list. Now, IP, I said it, I was never exposed to IP. You can see a huge correction from yesterday price, which is why it's very good to take profits. Like really, really good. All has also done a huge correction. And River has also done like a huge correction back to $17. Just yesterday, River was 38, which is why I strongly advocate against chasing price. If you missed it, you missed it. I told you guys I offloaded my bag around 17. Now it's crashed to exactly that $17. So you want to make sure you're locking in profit, whether you're trading it via features or spot. If you don't want to take profit, at least take out your capital, because if you don't, someone would actually take that profit. Most traders in crypto that get burnt, that don't make money or end up giving back to the market, is because of one singular reason: they are not taking profits. I've been a victim of that multiple times, more times than I can even remember. It happens to everyone. Like literally, it happens to everyone. Sometimes because of you feel you don't need that profit, or because of you're drunk with lots of wins. Yet you've just been on a winning spree, back to back wins. Yet so, or sometimes because you trust in that project too much, so you abandon logic and reasoning. So you want to make sure that at every given point in time, at least you're still sticking to the rules, so you don't make a mess of everything or you don't give back to the market. So generally speaking, jumping into any coin on a Thursday when Friday is just tomorrow can be risky. It's something I always say, it can be risky. You need to start applying caution and you need to start following certain rules. Unless that project is a very solid project that you're seeing it at a very discounted level, unless that. But on average, it's very not advisable trying to jump into like new project either for sports or features on a Thursday or on a Friday. It's not really really advisable unless you're seeing a huge discount, or unless BTC is looking extremely bullish, or there's maybe a very good positive news. Yet it's only in those scenarios that you can actually do that. So today we shared them, I think, one or two new trades. I think it's just one, probably LTC, which is at 95 now. It's gradually moving. All right, so let's look at BTC briefly before we answer questions. So what to expect? I think I've already said this. I'll be expecting BT to still correct a bit, most likely maybe tomorrow or later tonight. Just correct a bit. So whatever you're doing, you need to be very, very conscious of Bitcoin price action. Hopefully, if we go above this high, that would even be better. Yeah, to even be better. But I'll be leaning towards seeing that on a Sunday or Monday, most likely next week. And that's what I'll be expecting. The week is already closing. It's been an amazing week. Most traders will be looking at taking profits right now. I think we started the week here. Let's check when we started this week, please. This was where we started this week, Monday. This was where we started this week, Monday. We started the week with BTC price being around 90K. That's where we started the week. Just so you don't forget and you don't lose focus of what's really happening. 90K. And just this week, BTC has done a $7,000 run. Okay, just this week, 7K has been added from Monday till Thursday. It only makes sense to see a correction. So even if we correct to 94K, it's not really bad. It's not really something evil. If we correct to 94K, yes, it will mess lots of altcoins up. Yes, if you don't take profit or protect your trades, you will hit stop loss. True. But if you want to be logical, there's nothing wrong with BTC correcting to about 95K or slightly above 94K. It's expected. And after a $7,000 run. So it's most likely next week that personally that I'll be expecting us to go higher. Personally, next week, maybe from like Sunday, that's when I'll be expecting. The good thing is we're above this level. That's the good thing. We're actually above this level. So it should be much easier for us now to get to as high as this level, which is 105, which I told you guys that I'm very much expecting BC to go as high as 105K this January. Above 105K is possible, but I'm sure expecting 105K. So let's take some questions before we call it a day. So someone is saying, I did not take profit yesterday, lost all this money. That's quite sad. I hope you learn from that sincerely. It's quite sad. It can be very demoralizing, like very, very demoralizing. Because now you have to first make back the money you lost before you start talking of profit, which is why protecting capital is of utmost important. Please throw light on Trado. Trado. Okay, can you be more specific with the question? Because Trado is a DEX, and I feel we'd see DEXs do a whole lot of movement this year, particularly this first half. I feel so. Can I still get into OPEX after this correction? I haven't looked at the chart to find another entry because of I was disappointed with that dump. I wasn't expecting it. That SL, fitting that SL, I was not expecting it. But yeah, I should have been able to move my SL to at least break even. But I've not checked the chart again, so I can't really say. PTC is correcting to 94K, right? Yeah, it looks so, but we'll find out by tomorrow. It looks so. I won't be surprised if it drops to 94K. Hype. Yeah, I've looked at the hype charts. So someone is asking Litecoin TP, please. Okay, let me just open this Litecoin. So Ton has already moved. Yeah, I remember Ton trade. Ton has already moved, so might feel late jumping into Ton. Might actually feel late jumping into Ton because it has already moved. Yeah, it has already moved, so it might actually feel late jumping into Ton. Yeah, so the person asking about Litecoin, let me bring up Litecoin. Litecoin TP, the SL, okay, I called the SL earlier. The TP for Litecoin is 92, 82, sorry. Just say 82, that's 81.9. Just say 82. That's the TP for Litecoin. Question. So someone is asking, is possible for Sassoon to share signal call for spot buys for solid assets such as Dash? Yeah, we've spoken about Dash. Gigo, we've already said about Gigo. Where we got in for spot for Gigo is around 50 something dollars. That was December. Gigo was around 50 something dollars. Dash, we've already spoken about that. Rivers, we got in around 3 point something. Exit wherever you like. Me, I exited entirely around 17. Closed everything around that $17. But the most of my portfolio was closed before that 17. Yeah, so we are still looking at the market. Sora, still exposed to Sora around 200 and something K, but we're waiting to see what the team will do. I'm not buying River at $17, majorly because I exited everything at 17. It makes no sense me jumping back in around 17. So I'm skipping that. There are lots of other opportunities in the market. My opinion, Rise seems to be struggling. Yeah. That's why I said that I've paused my investment in Ori. So right now we're just waiting. But the products they are generating profits. They just need to let us know, like, so far so good, what's been happening with those products. I fear same fate with Chromia. It seems, well, I've not checked. Chromia is actually profitable. Space now, what do you think?
Chromia is profitable. Chromia is basically just trying to push this their AI robotics thing. So that's what they're really pushing. So um, I'm still standing by to see. Basically, I'm just still standing by to see what they want to do. The only one I'm actively looking at because they've built and they are pushing is Rujira, right? Because Rujira now they are talking about integrating with Maya protocol. So they've built their lending and borrowing. They are increasing USK this thing, reward to about 10%. So they've built their shipping, people are using it, and they have much more plans too that looks really good. So those I'm focusing on them right now to see if any opportunity arises. Okay, for Chromia, yes, we're getting the news of their robotics, storage and all that good stuff. Yeah, but all of them, the only thing now is I won't advise anybody to be putting much more money in probably Orai, Chromia, even Rujira. But rather, let's see things improve. You get then the thing is your money is your money. You can just be keeping your money someplace and be like, okay, this money is for investing, but you're not buying anything yet. Okay, it's safer that way. Once if you're following up, when you see things start aligning, right? Maybe the market is also in a good place. Yes, then you can, buy. If it does a good amount, you could maybe move your capital and then hodl the rest. That's a more better strategy than thinking, oh, the prices right now are very good. Let me go and buy. Yes, the prices look good, but it can go lower. At the same time, let me use Ori for example. Let's say Ori is at 60 cents, right? And then you miss out on the entry. Ori starts pumping and you get in on Ori around $1.2. It's still a good deal, to be honest. In as much as you're almost guaranteed that this Ori will get to $3, $4, or even $5, you'll make more money rather than saying, okay, it's 60 cents, let me rush in and buy. And then you buy, but you're not satisfied, right? And the market turns, Ori is now at 40 cents. It's not a good strategy. So I have my eyes on them. I'm following up what's happening with them, but I am not accumulating any new positions because we've been accumulating positions all this while. Rather, just sit on the sidelines and hopefully things get much more favorable. Right.
All right, that's amazing. Yeah, so I hope the person that was asking about CHR, or at least your question has been answered. Someone is asking about Asta trade. We're out of Asta trade. It has already hit full TP. We're not on any Asta trade again. It has hit full TP. Should I enter LTC market or limits? It depends on you. You can get into via markets or you can use limits. It depends. The Asta trade for people, we're not on any Asta trade again. We're not yet. We're not on any Asta trade. Yeah, so far, I think that's all we'll be taking today. So I'm special. I don't know if you had any extra stuff before we round up.
No, no, no. What I have to say is the market looks good, right? But not exactly not entirely what we want. So hopefully things get clear for us. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I totally agree. Market looks good, but I feel we'll see more altcoins rally next week. We'll see more altcoins rally. Specifically, paying my attention on like Sui. To be interesting to see Sui come down a bit. Last week Sui was the leading altcoin first week of this year. Sui ran all the way to $2. Like Sui performed so well, like so well. I would have said let me share my screen, but we're out of time. So Sui performed so well last week. He did more than 1 to 7 get on the trade, and even on the continuation trade, it still did very well. Now it's just doing its correction, which afterwards I expect a huge run. Another coin that has performed so well again is BNB. If you guys pay attention, and BNB too performed really well. Our trade on BNB first week of this month hit full TP. Our re-entry did not trigger. Just a minute. Let me just share this because after this, we're calling it a day. Re-entry did not trigger. This was our first trade on BNB this year. Full TP. You're unable to adjust on time. But yeah, it hits full TP. Continuation entered, but the re-entry, this was supposed to be like a re-entry, which did not trigger. This one hasn't triggered yet because I'm expecting BNB to correct. But if you notice, BNB has been amazing this year from around $850 where we started this year. It's almost at 950. And if you notice, there are so many other alts that have not been able to level up the way Ethereum, BNB, Sui have done, even Dash, Monero, probably Zcash. There are so many other solid projects there that haven't been able to do that. One is Uni. Uniswap has been unable to do that. Another one is on the top of my head. Another one is Hype. I know there are others too. But if you notice Hype and Uni, they've been unable to. Once these two projects are able to break out, they'll give some good profits, which is why I'm trying to target that breakout, which is why we keep searching for opportunities. We make profits, exit, find another long position again. Once maybe there's a minor correction, but I do know once they break out, they will do some like very good profits. And there are other projects like them there. There are other projects like them. So you can also take your time to search for those projects. So that's all for today, guys. See you guys tomorrow, which will be the last day we'll be streaming for this week. And should you have any questions, please feel free to share it in the Telegram channel. The link is on the screen. Bye, guys, and see you guys tomorrow.
Bye, guys.